Plug-in urban design for strategies. What is plug-in urban design? Plug-in urban design refers to the design and the construction of the infrastructure of a development site to bind it into a unit and as an incentive for individual owner, builders, or property developers to invest in new buildings. Focus on the strategic building of infrastructure components of a city. Precinct links, binding precincts into units. The physical links binding precincts into coherent, identifiable units take many different forms. Most likely, there are streets, pedestrian ways, green belts, bicycle paths, skyway links, and underground passages. Plug-in in the infrastructure. There are three types of plug-in in the infrastructure above figure: skyway, riverside walkway, and underground pedestrian network. Strategic investment as catalyst.
Curitiba, Brazil. Master planning and plug-in urban design. With a population growth of 5% a year in the early 1960s, and contemporaneously with the excitement generated by the design and development of Brasilia, the municipality felt that a new plan was needed and organized a competition to generate ideas for what the city should be. The Eggers plan had proposed that growth should take place in a concentric manner from the center up. A zoning map was drawn up accordingly. A community center, a citizenship street plugged into the transportation system. The so-called above-ground-underground system has attracted great international attention. The separate express bus lane and the tubular stations with platforms enable passengers to enter the bus without climbing up steps and having already paid for the trip do operate much as in the subway system. The integrated transportation network following the 1965 plan. The winning scheme of Brazilian George Wilhelm proposed that growth should take place in a radial, linear manner spreading out from the center, so that transportation route could be the most easily be integrated with new development. The transportation infrastructure in Curitiba, a conceptual diagram of a transport terminal, the trinary traffic system in the structural avenues. Over the last decade, the planning process in Curitiba has run into problems. Many politicians and the diversity of citizens groups are calling for change. The question now being asked is, how do we move ahead? The city can rest on its laurels, but in a few years, its infrastructure will start to decay, and what has been achieved will be largely forgotten. New ways will have to be devised to develop the city's competitive advantage over its rivals.
Case study: Singapore's MRT system, an outstanding rapid transit system. Introduced by Emma E. Lorange in 1962 for the highly crowded central area of Singapore, the project's goals to establish a long-range physical plan for the Republic, including a transportation plan, recommend policy and scheme for the central area, recommend the type of massive transport system, assist in the preparation of specific projects, develop a fully operational agency that could develop a plan further and implement it. Singapore's Land Transport Authority was created in 1995 and is now the owner and developer of the system. The goal of the organization is to provide a service that can compete effectively with the private automobile as the transportation mode of choices. What differentiates Singapore's MRT system from many others is that its development has been linked to present new town development every step of the way. In addition, where MRT stations should be located, where expressways should be built, and the entire network of infrastructures, water, sewer, power, and telecommunications should be developed. The cannibalistic effect of the MRT station was both foreseen and exploited by the planner and urban designer in Singapore. The constructions of stations, for instance, leads to a proposed surge of high-density, high-rise development in the CBD.
The Jubilee Line expansion in London, UK, an underground rail link as a catalyst for urban revitalization. The light rail to the Docklands from the city has a capacity of 27,000 passengers a day. There are 50,000 working population with a substantial number of other visitors to the site each day. The British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher promised to get the project funded. Olympia and York chipped in Euro 400 million towards the cost of this infrastructure item. The extension of the Jubilee Line links two main railway stations, Waterloo and London Bridge, in 1996. The tunnels are relatively deep because they run under existing buildings and also under the River Thames. No strict design guidelines for unifying the architecture of the different stations were established. Some details that serve as a visually unifying purpose, such as the floors of the concourse, the nature of the escalator, the glass doors, and the signage. The largest station is at Canary Wharf. It is 340 meters in length, built through a cut and cover approach. It has a cathedral-like internal space. The paved square in front of the station is related to the residential scale of the area. Expo 92 Seville, in Spain, a World's Fair. Designing the basic infrastructure, streets, a reticulated water supply system, sewers, electricity and communication systems is very much the basis for urban development. They have to be easily plugged into by assorted pavilions that designed by a variety of architects striving to outdo each other in attracting attention. The infrastructure also has to provide a pleasant circulation space for the pedestrians. It has to be efficient, comfortable and interesting. Amber Scheme drew water from the river into 3 large pools, around which wharves were located, providing linkage into all the park's infrastructure system. He envisaged the exhibitors having their pavilions built on barge and move along the river to plug into the site for the duration of the fair. Giulio Cano Lasso, who was given the instruction to merge ideas from the competition-winning schemes and assemble the implemented design. The scheme was inward-looking, but linked to the city by the number of new bridges designed by such major figures as Santiago Calatrava. Aranya Township in Indore, India, a site and services scheme. The scheme was created for a design population of about 9 people per household, making up a total of 63,000 people. The target population included 65% low income and 35% higher income. 5 objectives dictated the design: to ensure a fine living environment, to create a sense of community, to deal with the hot arid climate, to create an efficient, cost-effective armature into which individual building could be plugged, to provide a way of life for low-cost areas in India, encouraging activities for neighborhood in the street, arid areas, and on flat roof of the buildings. The latrines are at the back of the lots because they dislike it located in front of the buildings. Essentially a Greek iron plan, it is arranged in a modified concentric pattern to create a mosaic of income-segregated sub-areas that build up into an integrated whole. The site layout makes it possible to reach the core from the periphery of the site in a 10 minutes walk. Working places are integrated into the plan. Much small-scale retail, commercial and industrial activity takes place in the streets and in the houses. It was anticipated that the houses will be built to have a veranda facing the street, a room with the kitchen behind it, and no trees in the back. A second floor could then be tacked on.
Case study: the Skywalk System, Minneapolis, Minnesota, USA, 1959 to the present. Planned competition 2015. The Minneapolis Skywalk System consists of pedestrian walkways that link the interior of buildings in the office and the retail cores of the city at the second-story level. In 1959, the Minneapolis City Planning Department commissioned Leslie Park and an architect, Ed Baker to develop a plan for such a system. There are different kinds of space linked by the skywalk. For example, commercial center lobby, shopping gallery, and hotel. In 2002, it's linking 2,000 stores, plus coffee shops and kiosks, 34 restaurants, 1,500 apartment units, 4,000 hotel rooms, and 2 million square feet of office space. The number of skyway grows up rapidly and increased of 62 in 2002. In the middle of 2002, the government unveiled the final phase of the plan, focusing on completing the remaining linkings by 2015. The links must be at least 3.6 meters wide and no wider than 8.27 meters, and they need enclosure for air conditioning. Escalators at the corners of each block at street level will provide easy access to the elevated walkways. There are many advantages of this system. First, visit the second level for commercial and retailing behaviors. Second, the usage of city's bus system has increased. Third, it's convenient for pedestrians, especially in winter. Case study: Paseo del Rio, San Antonio, Texas, USA. A real sidewalk way, 1939 to 1941, and 1962 to the present, and continue. The Rift Sidewalk, known as Paseo del Rio, is a pioneering example of consciously designed riverfront park integrated with the buildings around it. The improvements and redesign of walkways acted as a catalyst for the buildings of hotels, local shops, and restaurants along the river. Some of the buildings that backed on the river had been turned around to face it, but the backs of others had simply been tilted up and acts as a reminder of a former status of the river. Other buildings changed their use. The plug-in element include the Hyatt Hotel, whose base and entrance acts as a link to the Alamo, the Convention Center, and the River Center. Riverwalk has proven to be a major asset to the city. 9 billion people a year use it, and it's estimated to contribute 800 million to San Antonio's 3 billion tourist industry each year. Case study: Chattanooga, Tennessee, USA. School as a catalyst for precinct revitalization, 2000 to 2002. Many civic authorities and politicians now recognize the importance of the quality of built environment in attracting private investment and mid-class residents. Chattanooga is a city that comes to the realization. Chattanooga City Hall set up K-5 Magnet School downtown. This object made about 400 students be bused out of Chattanooga to suburban schools. To attract good staff and good students, the universities need to be located in pleasant settings with good community facilities. Battle Academic has been built as a catalyst for attracting the additional residential populations. Other incentives used to induce the mid-income to live in the city are the creations of cultural facility in the area.
Conclusion: the plug-in design encourages dynamic activities within an urban area. Making a high accessibility between precincts has encouraged the use of public transportation. Reduce the difference between two areas within metropolitan, making a new balance. Plug-in of open spaces within residences area encourages activities happen in the street and the neighborhood. However, linking infrastructure between urban and the rural area might bring an impact to the rural area, as transportation, for instance, a metro line, might obstruct boundary of a rural neighborhood and increase insecurity.